morning. How are you guys? What's poppin'? What's up? What's up? It is officially day one of the Fall in Love Festival. You may have been, I don't know if you were, but mayhaps one or two of you were thinking, I wonder why Derry hasn't been streaming all week. It's because I've been preparing for this. I've been preparing for this festival. I've been corresponding with emails. I've been making thumbnails. I've been planning out the schedule. I've been working on arts commissions. I can get like 99% of them out of the way so I can just focus on this, because I'm streaming today. I am streaming tomorrow. I am streaming Friday. I am streaming Monday. I am streaming Tuesday. I am streaming Wednesday. I am streaming. Actually, I think I'm off Wednesday, and then I'm streaming Thursday, and then I'm streaming Friday, and then I'm streaming Monday. It is packed. Okay, it is packed. You are going to see so much of me in the next 2 weeks. You are going to get fucking sick of me. All right, all right. But welcome in, welcome in. Hi, Jacob on YouTube. Let's see who all is here. Who all grabbed their daily pillow? We got. Oh my god, Ren, thank you so much for taking my first today. Makes me very, very happy. You could be my first. We got Daily Pillow, we got Ren, we got Jeremy, and we got Nordy. Yeah, welcome in, welcome in. I hope y'all are doing well. We also got Tengu and Mita. You never get tired of spending time with you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. To be fair, to be honest, that is something I do get a little anxious about, is that if I'll lose my charm, I'll lose my appeal if I show up too much. I'm like, oh my god, I'm sick of this guy. I won't lie, I do think that sometimes. But welcome in. Today we are playing Spell Candle, which is a, let me look up how they described it. What the fuck? I don't know. I just said it. Sometimes I feel, I don't think it was like, I don't think it's correct, but you know, sometimes you just have like, you know, irrational fears, you know. But welcome in, Nugget. Yeah, let me see, where's the thing that explains it. Here we go, I found the definition. Spell Candle, a psychological romance mystery novel. War has taken away a loved one, but your country has sent you on a diplomatic mission, not giving you the time to grieve. When the task at hand suddenly becomes survival, you have to spend every free moment figuring out which villain is hiding among the powerful political figures around you. Which of them will you choose to trust? And then there's like a bunch of like hot characters on the screen. So the Kickstarter for this game is currently live. They've been doing really well so far. They've got a goal of $25,000, and as of right meow, they've got $8,000 of their goal. So they're like, it's like what, like a third? A little shy than a third. But here, let me go ahead and drop the link for the Kickstarter in here. There you go. In case y'all are interested while we're playing the demo, if you want to support them. There you go, there you go. Whenever I click off the game, it stops the music, so don't mind if you suddenly hear the music not going. Oh, let's go ahead and end of stream. We'll set that so that it doesn't disappear after like 20 minutes. There we go. Good news, I don't think I'll be unemployed anymore after this week. That's so good. Let's fucking go. Hell yeah. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Yeah. Also, what else? What other news do I have? Oh, I dropped a new ASMR roleplay video. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, a lot of you didn't know what Omegaverse was, or were kind of just neutral about it. A surprising number of you did not know what Omegaverse was, which was shocking to me considering that you're following me. The video is Omegaverse themed, but it's very light. It's very lightly sprinkled Omegaverse, right? You could totally still listen to it even if you're not that super knowledgeable about it, just, you know, omega just means bottom, basically. That's all you need to know. That's pretty much it. The omega equals bottom, and that's the only term I really explicitly use. I do mention scent, but like you could interpret that in a variety of ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the omega-verse way. But yeah. So that's on my YouTube. I'm pretty sure I updated the timer thing, the chat timer. Omega means breedable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And anybody can be breedable regardless of gender, all right? All right? So but yeah, it's just like a cute, like, snuggling in bed, falling asleep type of ASMR video. So that's really all it boils down to. But all right, I think it's time. I think it's time we start. We got the lights dimmed. How far are you willing to go to contain war in a glass dome? How many parents would you be willing to sacrifice? How many brothers would you kill? Would you grow numb to the pain? Become a zealous leader, willing to sacrifice anything for the greater good? Turn a blind eye to the orphans on the streets? Ignore those disabled begging for coin? Steal, bribe, and extort for a chance at peace? How many decisions would you leave you lying awake at night, counting the souls you sent to the slaughter? Can living in a war for a millennia truly be considered life? A loud whistle breaks the silence, rendering the carriage to a sudden stop. The tip of my quill shatters as it smashes into the paper before I can put down my next thoughts onto the page. Identity control! The shout comes from outside, and I put my notepad down, scoffing at the ruined nib. This was the third one today, and I'm tempted to throw my hands up in frustration and scream. I was selected to be the Arisian delegation's reporter for this year's Dread Festival. It should be considered a great honor to be able to report on your country's political victories, no matter how small. But you can't expect a caged bird to sing happily. I reach into my leather satchel to find my identification documents before stepping out of my petite carriage. Oh my god, our carriage is so petite. I feel... pleased by the chance to stretch my legs, annoyed that I had to go through this, curious to finally have a peek at the outside, enthusiastic that we've likely almost reached our destination. I would say... probably a mixture of almost all of these, except curious to finally get a peek outside, because I would absolutely be staring out the window for a lot of this. So, maybe enthusiastic that we've likely almost reached our destination. Like, we're so close, we're almost there. I'm almost done with this fucking journey. Just a few feet ahead of an elven woman is going through the papers of an older gentleman from our contingent. And what role do you fulfill within this delegation? Her voice is like the sharp-pointed end of an ancient spear. I'm the senator representing the region of the Beastlands. The elf sniffs the air around the delegate and frowns. She's beautiful. Glimmering mercury eyes peek out from underneath short bangs, the color of milky quartz. Her skin, like deep iron ore, glitters gently in the rays of daylight. After a very thorough read of the man's identification documents, she hands them back to him without a word. I find myself nervous as the elf's long, knife-like ears twitch, and her attention shifts to me. I've never seen anything like it. Her cold gaze examines me from head to toe before she reaches a hand out. Identification documents. I hand them over, and she scans them through quickly. Enter your name here, then press enter.
Indeed, there, enter.
Choose your pronouns. Let's fucking go. Let's just do they, them. And what role do you fulfill within this delegation? I was selected by the Empire to take an account of the Dread Festival for an article. I mean, that's basically what we just said. I'm here to report on the mutually beneficial relationship between our nations. I'll just select the first one. That's the one that we just said in her head. I was selected by the Empire to take an account of the Dread Festival for an article. Her eyebrows raised slightly at my response. After a moment, she nods, accepting my explanation. And your general? Where can I find him? The question perplexes me. Though the delegation had been traveling for several weeks, I hadn't encountered the infamous Shadow Master once. Also, hi, bud. Had I? Upon seeing my bewildered expression, the elf offers a small explanation. He was not in his carriage. Perhaps because he got bored of being confined in a turbulent box for days. A voice responds before I can open my mouth to formulate an apology. I step back from the carriage and seek out its source. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Right from the start, bro. Upon the wooden roof of my small carriage, relaxed in one of the most beautiful gentlemen I had ever seen. With his eyes closed, his expression was so serene that I found myself wondering if I'd misheard him speak. Didst thou take an ear to any of the lovely arrangements that was recommended for thine enjoyment? Yeah, I listened to Caramel. I haven't had a chance to listen to the other ones yet, but I did listen to Caramel and I did like it. I used to be a big metalhead back in high school, so it was very nostalgic. And I do like a lot of like the melodic vocals with metal as well. I think that's like a really underrated pairing. So yeah, it was really nice. I did like it. Shadow Master, may day and night preserve you. Oh my god, this is the Shadow Master? The man on the roof of my carriage opened his eyes and leveled the woman with a cold gaze. His eyes were the color of the flags of our empire. The color of blood and dangerous, forbidden things. I could hear the elven woman swallow from behind me so vividly that I wondered if the world around us had fallen quiet on purpose. May I please see your documents, General? A frown crossed his features before he quietly sat up, slid his feet over the edge of the carriage, and jumped down with the grace of a cat. Here. He pushed a stack of documents that was so thick into the hands of the elf that it made me gape. It might take you a few days. He smirked, and I wondered where on himself he had kept a pocket large enough to hold all of that paper. The elf blinked, scanned through the first few pages, and then flipped through the next few with shaky hands, her face growing paler by the second. I don't think I should look into the papers. I'm just gonna stare at him. I'm just gonna admire his appearance for a bit. The political leader of our delegation crosses his arms behind his back, his expression neutral as he scans the surrounding environment. I feel my breath hitch as his gaze passes over me for a split second. The elf suddenly thrusts the pages back at the general and gives him a shaky nod and thank you before wobbling off to the next carriage. My god, Sleep Token fans are basically cultists. Their concerts are called warships. That's so funny. Was that necessary? The man's notorious crimson gaze turns to me. She asked me for my papers. He shrugged. Wasn't my fault she wasn't ready for what was on them. Somehow, this behavior does little to surprise me. I mean, she's just doing her job, man. It might have been considerate to let her know beforehand. And why would I do that? His eyebrows rose in challenge, and I found myself searching for a response to give him. She's just trying to do her job, man. Because you're the Shadow Master. You think the ever-powerful elven aspects don't know which general is being sent into their city as a peace tribute every year? I blink at his response. That's fair. An uncomfortable silence falls over us, and I notice the way his gaze wanders down below my waist, scrutinizing me. Hey, yo, where your eyes going, mister? You better pull those eyes back up. A frown crosses his lips. I follow his eyes and... fuck. The inkwell I had left on the seat beside me must have spilled when the carriage came to a sudden halt. He's staring pointedly at a large black stain on the side of my pants. We're not planning on wearing that to the welcome dinner. Of course not. I highly suggest not embarrassing yourself or the Empire by doing so. Bruh. Everything about this man was so irritating. I won't. The look he gave me was one of complete apathy. Just in case you haven't heard this recently, you're loved and appreciated. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I grit my teeth. A loud, high-pitched whistle traveled from the gates ahead of us. Someone is giving us all clear. The clinking of metal hinges echo in the air, and I take it as my sign to return to the peace of my small carriage. I hope you have a good day, General. There wasn't a single sincere word in that sentence. He raised a set of eyebrows as I stepped into my carriage. Making sure to avoid the spilled ink, I turn around and shut the door in his face. A childish reaction, but his expression was well worth it. With blood pounding in my ears, I found a clean place to sit before the carriage resumed its movement shortly after, entering the Omnis, the city of candle wax. The capital city of the elves. I find myself eagerly peeking out through the window, making continuous effort to forget the fact that I may have just angered one of the most dangerous men on the eastern continent. My eyes wander between the many tall buildings made of marble, adorned with gold embellishments, before lingering on the rectangular houses with roofs assembled from slabs of multicolored quartz. They're illuminated by the withdrawing river of light, the path of the goddess of day. All structures bask in the warm rays, coloring in various shades of brilliant oranges and golds. It's a breathtaking view. We pass under a long archway of stone, upon which I can hear the bubbling of running water. Dozens of half-burnt candles of sundry colors and sizes sit atop each visible surface. I find myself itching to see what those streets look like at night. My thoughts quickly bring me back to the journal in my lap. Quickly, I fetch a new quill from my bag and note down my initial impressions. How many quills do we have, bro? She mentioned that this was our fourth quill, basically. How many more do we have in our bag, bro? After several days of travel, our delegation has finally arrived at Omnis, the legendary elven capital. The gates were guarded strictly, and our official documents and identities were checked for validity. This year, the Great Empire's leading envoy for peace celebrations is the Shadow Master. He sports a unique brand of charm that inspires the awe of everyone around him. Gotta be a little snarky, you know? Like a hurricane or some other horrible natural disaster. He has a way with words. I am blessed to be able to experience the elves' exaltation when around him. At least I'm not the only one terrified of this monster. We meander through the roads for another 20 minutes before the carriage comes to a final stop in front of the only building that looks terribly out of place. The tall, rectangular pagoda that serves as the Ares Empire's embassy at Omnis. As I disembark, I spot the general already disappearing past the red curtains. He doesn't spare me a glance. Oppressive prick. I'm given a small but pleasantly furnished room in the embassy and quickly ditch my pack in there before heading out into the city. I need to find a tailor somehow, so let's see. I take a map of the city from the embassy to orient me, I would assume. The map itself isn't as detailed as I like, but I can make out the names of the districts of Omnis as well as a couple of points of interest. I decided to take a look around the Enclave of the Gods, the area of the Earth Elves first, since I'd read so much about how lavishly they'd lived. It takes me about 15 minutes of walking and skulking around weird alleyways before I spot a cylindrical structure of rose marble. 2 golden curtains embroidered with large designs of spool with pink string hung from around its wide-open double doors. Dark letters spell out the words, "The Hour of the Golden Ones," right above the entrance of the building. The gentle strum of the mandolin came from inside, heart-wrenching, intense, soulful, and yet somehow welcoming. I step inside, yet find myself incapable of spotting a single worker. At least not until 3 shadows of varying sizes shift from behind a paravan of curtains. They speak in some language I do not recognize. I'll just be patient. I wait quietly, watching the outline shift behind the curtains that sway at the mercy of the wind. A customer? The medium's shadow queries. Smells like it. The smallest silhouette, short and stubby, moves to face my direction. Its voice high-pitched and snippy. Now's not a good time. I frowned, but I wasn't about to give up that easily. I need an outfit for a party tonight at the Arisian embassy, please. I kept my tone polite, but I knew an undertone of desperation had slipped in. I didn't want to see the general's smug expression directed at me tonight. A short silence followed, filled only by the gentle strum of the mandolin. We are very busy, and... A predatory growl erupted from behind the caravan. Help them! The command rolled through the chamber with a low rumble. I felt myself tense as the tallest figure turned to face me from behind the curtain. But, Natura! The growl grew louder. As you wish, Natura. The tone was reverent, obedient. Language now fully switched to common. The caravan of curtains rustled as short elf that looked to be within the late years of his lifespan stepped out to help me. Right this way. I was quickly led by another small caravan. I'm Cupio, one of the designs of the Hour of Golden Ones, and your extra hand to look your best today. Will you be needing help undressing? The question caught me off guard. I refused politely. No, I'm fine, man. I got this. Thank you for the offer, but I'm accustomed to dressing myself. Cupio nods, surprisingly accepting of my choice. Very well, then. I will see what we have that will fit your body while you disrobe. Drape yourself in the plush blanket on the Davenport if you're feeling bare. And do not be concerned we change them after each client that refuses to take it home with them. Before I could process his words, the elf had made his way outside my changing area. It didn't take long before several beautiful outfits were brought to me. Was a high player. Yeah, summon another little fella. Cupio made it his mission to look everywhere but at my body as he delivered them and exited. His regard for my wishes put me at ease as I tried on the outfits one by one. Do any of these suit your fancy? Oh, a racy blue and white dress draped with a beautiful belt made of pearls. A conservative black cotton toga that sticks to my muscles and curves. A leather two-piece, a blouse with matching pants accented with golden bracers and rings, or a ceremonial red and white robe of silk with black embroidered sash. What am I thinking? What fashion am I going with today? Hi, Jenny. Welcome in. Maybe... I think the leather two-piece. We'll go with that one. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm chilling. We're playing a visual novel. It's a romance visual novel. Ooh. After I put on the jewelry and look in the mirror, I hardly recognize myself. The leather is tight, but the seams are flawless, allowing for freedom of movement. See you tomorrow's read. Oh, this week we're just doing visual novels. There's no tarot tomorrow, Jenny. Just by the way, just so you can get any rest that you might need. There's no tarot tomorrow. It's just visual novels. Yeah, after I put on the jewelry and look in the mirror, I hardly recognize myself. The leather is tight, but the seams are flawless, allowing for freedom of movement. When's the reading? The next one will probably be maybe next week. Probably next week. Next Thursday. It's just this week is the Fall in Love Visual Novel Festival. So we're playing lots of romance visual novels this week. The gold accessories balance out the neutral ensemble, giving the illusion that this is worn by someone powerful. A great choice. The tailor praises the way that the item of clothing sits upon my frame. Is this outfit to your liking? Yeah, I like it. Lovely. Now please follow me to the lockbox. I nod and exit through the heavy curtains to join the small elf at the pay desk, not expecting the looming figure that pushes past the caravan across from mine. Ayo. Sheesh. Oh my god. I find myself face to chest with a being unlike any I've ever seen before. A tall cross between a man and a monster with a powerful body and a rich skin tone. As I look up at him, his eyebrows jump in surprise before his lips twist in a tameless smile. Seems like I made the correct choice. Excuse me? Getting you dressed. His voice was like a low purr, and I find my cheeks heating as he made a show of admiring my outfit of choice. You're stunning. Oh my god. Thank you. A large tail swishes back and forth behind him as he tilts his head to one side. Did you also manage to find suitable clothing? Bro is like half naked right now. Why are you asking him that? Do you make it a habit of helping others out? Also, hi, Alexander. Unfortunately, I don't have the time for such noble work. Lately, the only people I happen to assist are my subordinates by doing stacks of paperwork on my desk. They've had to change that damn thing 3 times this year already. Are you a public servant of some kind? Pretty much. His bold outfit choice had made me assume he was a famed exotic dancer or performer. The thought had made my mind travel in a direction that was anything but innocent, but I was almost glad when he changed the topic. Sorry I'm late, love your stream, can't stay. Yeah, no worries. Thanks so much for popping in, Alex. Take care. Now, to do my job as a public servant by covering your bill. Giving me a little chance to respond, the creature moved to stand in front of the tailor. I can pay for myself. That'd be 250 gold. Jesus Christ! My coin purse suddenly felt too light. In the Ares Empire, that much money could buy between 5 cottages and a defensible small tower, depending on the military region. Sorry, could you repeat that sum for me? 250 gold. Were these clothes going to go to work, clean, and cook instead of me or something? I find myself staring down at my chosen outfit with new doubts. Maybe I just try to spill the ink spill with some hot water and salt. Just put it on my tab, Cupio. As you wish, Natura. The elf bowed politely as I turned to face the creature behind me. His smile caught me off guard. I know he senses the way I want to complain, to fight back against his generosity. Bearing in mind that we just met, this is too much. I hurriedly step even closer to Cupio, who looked between me and the tall man, now behind me uncertainly. Do you always fight back this hard when somebody tries to help you out? I know I've given him a weird look when he smiles wide, showing off a pair of sharp top canines. Do you always fight back this much? I mean, no, not usually, but this is a lot of money. An amused hum leaves his lips as I find myself wondering what it is he gleaned from this curt line of questioning. Also, hi, Lucius. Welcome in. How are you? Oh my god, dude, I have to blow my nose. Hold on. Let me mute so I can blow my nose real quick. Okay, I'm good now. This isn't a battle you need to fight. Your purchase is on me. Consider it a gift from Terra of the Elves. I freeze in place as the tall creature crosses his arms in front of his chest, refusing to take no for an answer. I'm pretty good, just resting. Yeah, get cozy, get cozy. Feel free to relax. His lion-like tail swishes back and forth as if taunting me to attempt to refuse his kindness. This man was Terra, the demigod leader of the City of Fives and the chosen of the Earth element. And he just paid a ridiculously overpriced item of clothing. So hi, Lord Tavish. Is your birthday today? Happy birthday, Lord Tavish. Oh my gosh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lord Tavish. Happy birthday to you. All right. The intensity of his gaze lessened before he nodded towards the clothing on my body. Pretty things suit pretty people. Considered a party favor. You are a guest of the Dread Festival, right? I nod, and he gives me a brilliant grin. Then please make yourself at home in our city. The words, "a million people would kill for this chance," echo in my mind, and I find myself smiling back at the demigod. Thank you. It is my duty, and incidentally, my pleasure. I find my cheeks heating up a bit at his tone. Oh my god. Bro got a whole bakery on him. You see that? You see that? Bro just pulled a fresh set of buns out the oven. God damn. I should be out my way. Of course. I'll be seeing you tonight then. I pick up my old clothes and pack my pack before bidding Cupio and Tara the most dignified goodbye I could muster. Now, what did the way back to the embassy look like? I start retracing my steps, but quickly find myself unable to deny the itch to put words on paper over my recent encounter. Compared to the capital of the Ares Empire, the elven city of Omnis is beautiful but chaotic. The architecture I see as I walk the streets is awe-inspiring, but the structure of the city itself is incomprehensible. I wonder what the spatial architects were thinking when they planned this place. The urban design is amateurish when compared to the organized construction of our capital city. My thoughts then wandered to Terra of the Elves, to his warm smiles and overly accommodating sentiments. Nobody had ever covered a bill for me purely out of kindness before. I can't help but wonder what the price I'd have to pay pay for it in return would be. I frown and structure my thoughts on the demigod of Earth. My first impression of Terra of the Elves is that he seems to live in his own world. I've never once spotted any of our 9 generals out shopping for clothes mere hours before an event as important as the Dread Festival. Then again, if Terra's as rich as the legends say he is, I shouldn't be surprised that he throws money around pompous stores with ridiculously inflated price tags. I feel my chest grow heavy with guilt over the words that I put down. We've been taught to always show the strengths of our empire, throwing mud at the reputations of others in order to do so. However, it's never been my favorite thing to do. I exhale and look up from the page in my quill, needing a distraction from my treacherous thoughts. It comes quickly as I do not recognize the street that I'm walking on. Multitasking is not as easy as it seems. The marble and quartz are lost, instead replaced by simple one-floor stone buildings, decorated with all kinds of dried plants, bones, and black velvet curtains. The street seems deserted. The air feels oppressive. Unlike the other parts of town, soft lavender and green candles lay lit around the street, as though there's a heavy darkness here that dims all other colors and needs to be warded off. Silence stretches over me in a way that has me glancing back at my shadow. I don't know why, but this place reminds me of some of the worst moments of my life. Ooh. A loss of a friend in the yearly wars. An experience that changed me and left a void in my chest. It's difficult to express what the loss of a loved one feels like, but a wave of sadness hits me with such strength that I have to rub the tears from my eyes as I walk. I hate it. I hate the reality of a mortal. That life had beginning and end. How cruel is that? How cruel were the gods that made us like this? I take a deep breath and focus on the teachings of the Ares Empire, the way to fight back the demons that attempted to conquer you. I need to keep myself occupied and focus on the things at hand. I need to take everything step by step. Look for someone to guide me back. Please help me leave. I'm lost. While the street I'm currently on is empty, there surely must be someone I can ask for directions. I walk around for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, taking lefts and rights, making my way through the neighborhoods that look lived in yet don't spot a single person. Haven't I already been on this street? I feel as though I'm being watched. I find myself constantly glancing around the vacant windows and empty street corners. A cold chill climbs up my back as I reach a few doors without windows or candles. Was this elven magic or just all in my head? Was someone playing tricks on me? When I stop to readjust my pack, I feel something wet hit my forehead. The darkening skies from up above surprise me, and I barely have a moment to blink before I'm caught in a downpour. The rain is so heavy and cold that if I don't hide somewhere quick, I'm sure I'll be sick by tonight's banquet. Shit. At this rate, my notes will be ruined. I break into a run, looking for shelter from the downpour. The only place I manage to find on such short notice is underneath a small staircase. I'm forced to squeeze in underneath, pulling my feet to my chest. I like the rain. I'm a big fan. I love rain. I've always found it calming. The pitter-patter of raindrops against any surface could easily put me to sleep. With a downpour like this, it seemed as if the sky itself was crying. For the first time in my life, I found the sky's unruliness almost unfair. By force of habit, I find myself closing my eyes and listening to the sound of raindrops as they hit the cement. I breathe in the petrichor and allow its familiar smell to calm me. Despite my feelings, I find my earlier unease evaporating, melting away within minutes. Oh my god, puppy! I open my eyes to the sound of a bark and find a small puppy tilting its head at me. When I blink again, however, I find that I must have imagined it. Oh my god. Hi. What stands before me instead is a tall man dressed from head to toe in black. His 4 eyes are a startling green, greener than the purest jadeite. Somehow, he sticks out from within the gloom of the surrounding environment, perhaps because of the lit white candle that gleams in the lantern he holds towards me. He surveys me silently, unbothered by the rain from the falling sky. His gaze lingers a beat too long in my ears. A sound like an exasperated scoff escapes him before he moves his cape to one side. It takes me a moment to realize that he's offering to share. Oh my god, he's so nice. Come on. I'm not sure how I managed to hear a voice so gentle above the downpour. He's a hunk. They're all hunks, bro. Did you see Tara? They're all sexy, dude. Let's get you out of this rain. I should refuse. Something about strangers and danger. However, this man and his calm, gentle presence reassures me of my safety in a way no one else ever had. Perhaps it was magic? And did it truly matter if I was bespelled, if I managed to get to the banquet in time? With a nod, I move quickly from beneath the cold staircase to underneath the unfamiliar man's cape. I am pleased to find that it is much warmer and larger than it looks. I assume you're an ambassador of the Ares Empire. Once again, I'm surprised I can hear him. Something of the sort. His gaze lingers on me for a moment too long. Though he says nothing, he reaches his lantern forward, and I gather that we should move. The streets are accumulating water at such a pace that the sewage system does not seem capable of handling it. At first, I do my best to avoid the gathering puddles and streams of water, carrying away dust and grime. Though the task is difficult, and my feet should be soaked through shoes and socks, I am surprised to find that I don't walk into the puddles. I walk over them, as though an invisible barrier has been created between myself and the cold water accumulating on the streets. When I glance back at the man leading me, I notice the way the rain bounces away from him. I'm gonna ask. The cloak's enchanted. Oh. I never experienced the effect of a magic item before, and I can't help but be a little awestruck at the revelation that I was almost wearing one. They were pretty rare back at the Ares Empire. His head tilts towards the sky as if attempting to gauge if it will cease raining soon. Then sighs. I apologize. Once again, it takes me a moment to catch his voice. I find how easy it is to miss alarming. Do you usually apologize to all victims you save from a downpour? He raises an eyebrow at my pathetic attempt at a joke. Only when they're unnatural, caused by the emotional experience of one of ours. The puzzle pieces clicked into place. I know, isn't he so fucking pretty, bro? Amor's current aqua aspect of water had come into power 3 years ago, yet he was powerful enough to cause such a deluge? Do all elven aspects have the ability to affect the weather? I can feel his gaze resting on me for a brief period. No. Oh. At least not without the help of spell candles. They said the name of the game. They said the name of the game. Did you guys know? Did you guys know that's the name of the game? Did you hear? I raise an eyebrow at the man as he guides us in a turn and leads us out of the basic rocky building district. What are spell candles? A few seconds pass by without an answer, and I wonder if the cloak almost seems to grow heavier around me. A way to preserve pure elemental power. And the magic is released when the candle's burned? Correct. Is that why candles are strewn about this entire city? I spot the smallest of twitches at the corner of his mouth. Aren't you quite the astute student? I find myself smiling back at him. Our kind light them whenever they require magic they do not naturally possess. The red candles to light the fires at home and warm a room. The blue candles to summon and control water. The effect to which anyone can use these candles depends to their magical ability, of course, but I think you get the gist of it. The curve of his lips softened his features, and for a split second, I find myself staring longer than is appropriate. Can I also use magic then? Do you have an affinity for any element or deity? No. Then you likely can only benefit from enchanted items. We will reach 100 chimeneras. Oh my god. Flying carpets, rings that part the sea, talking swords, the stuff of legends. Oh my god, hi Ham, welcome in. He's teasing me. Very funny. Not head patches messing up your hair. Oh my god. Joke's on you, I already have bed head. You can't mess up my hair if it's never been fixed in the first place. Very funny. Here we are. The male suddenly stops and turns towards me, his tall frame towering over me as he lifted his lantern towards the entrance to the Eurasian embassy. Joke's on you, I made it fancy. Oh my god, you brushed my hair for me? Thank you, Ham. That's so intimate and kind of you, Ham. Loud percussion and the whistle of a flute and a mandolin rang through the air, showing off that the festivities had begun. And I was late. I'm embarrassed to admit that I was so focused on the intriguing man before me to notice that we'd arrived. Thank you. No thank you is necessary, to be assured. He motioned for me to go ahead with his free hand, so I just nodded, turned on my heel, and walked into the embassy in a hurry. The music was much louder inside, accompanied by the smells of various sizzling meats and the bright light of the hanging chandeliers. Water, earth, and death elves moved in wild circular dances, dressed in such finery that I found myself thankful that the Terra had interfered on my behalf at the store earlier. Though I spot him in the room, I find that he's engaged in conversation with some senators from our empire, full goblet in hand. A few paces away from him, my eyes meet the infamous crimson hues of the general, who seems to have stopped whatever he was doing to size up my outfit. Irritation bubbles up in my throat, and I find myself quickly pivoting towards the drinks table. A large wine fountain adorned with lit silver candles quickly catches my eye, and a polite elf pours me a goblet upon noticing my approach. I take the cup with a smile, but am momentarily distracted from drinking. I hear a series of loud gasps echo from somewhere before a slick, tangible voice cuts through the music like a hot knife through butter. I told the pirate lord that if he's not willing to go for war for my love, then he doesn't deserve me. And then I sank his ship to the bottom of the bay. A series of excited whispers and murmurs follow the ridiculous explanation. carrying the electric atmosphere that supports all forms of gossip mongering. Momentarily distracted, I can't help but search for whoever is the source of this ambiance. Frankly, even if my sister and brother were on the marriage market, I doubt they'd be able to impress. Then again, feel free to bring it up with stepmother dearest. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to finally get a morsel of attention. My feet move automatically, as if charmed by the scandal carried within every sentence of whoever is speaking. I find I am led into a section of the embassy floor transformed into a lounge by a large chaise, silks, curtains, and a burning incense. Many gorgeous elves are piled on top of the comfortable pillows, lazing around in eye-catching outfits, yet when my eyes land on the male sprawled in the dead center of this crowd, I find myself suddenly flustered. Oh my fucking god, bro. Everything about this man makes me want to do double and triple takes. The long hair, glistening in the candlelight as if wet, the bright pink makeup, the outfit that I'm sure would look unseemly on anyone else in such a formal environment. Whoever he is, he commands a space behind these curtains as though he owns it, and he might as well, considering the way the hungry gaze of his entourage follow each breath he takes. No, sweetheart. No matter how much money your father offers her family as a dowry, trust me, she won't marry you. I have a feeling Derry ain't reading the text. What do you mean I'm reading it? I have two eyes, one for reading the text and one for staring, alright? It's called multitasking, alright? I'm very good at multitasking. He sounds so utterly bored with the topic that I almost believe that he isn't reveling in the attention he's receiving. They're just talking about how he feels and it manages to be what the game is saying too. I'm manifesting every single line that the game says. His large smile says otherwise, though. Derry, let me have the fish man. The rest is yours. Alright, yeah. You can have the fish man. I will take Mr. Dark and Gloomy. His gaze lands on me and his smile widens. Wouldn't you agree? The pull of attention was dropped on me so suddenly that I found myself desperate to get rid of it. Marriage for love is better. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I stand by it. See, my darling, there's no market value one can name when it comes to the hand of another's eternal matrimony. That is, if love truly grips them both. A breathy chuckle escapes the beautiful man before me, his gaze still on me with such intensity that I actively have to remind myself not to fidget. Did his eyes just gleam? It seems this foreigner's already more intelligent in matters of the heart than you are, Leopold. I feel myself wince as the fierce glare is directed my way by the Leopold in question. Perhaps they're also interested in the matters of the flesh as well. If I was walking when I heard that comment directed my way, I would have tripped. How entirely inappropriate. His heterochromatic eyes slid over my form. The retort I planned never leaves my mouth. You're just my type. Excuse me? His bold proclamation wipes the remark clean from my memory, and I can only stare at him, completely dumbfounded. My cheeks flush as he spreads 2 fingers in front of his lips. Oh my god? Bro, put those away! We're in public, bro. Feel free to stop by my room later. I highly doubt that would be Aqua of the elves. My embarrassment is quickly swept under the rug, the attention of the room instead drawn to the general who'd moved in front of me. His demeanor remains as cold as always. Ah, the Shadow Master. The beautiful man before me moves to stand in front of us. I had an inkling that the male before me had to be influential, but had I just been propositioned by the aspect of water? Bro, really? That's crazy, dude. Oh my god. Okay. I'm normal. My brain blanched as I pondered how to put that down in my journal. I've heard a lot about you. The Aqua did a quick circle around the general, eyeing him with unabashed curiosity. The man without a heart, was it? Care to dispel that rumor? Ignoring the bold flirtation of the demigod before him, the general's crimson eyes glance in my direction briefly. I ask you to refrain from distracting our balefire-mandated political journalists from doing their job. I find myself stiffening upon hearing the mention of the Ares Empire's grand capital. Aqua's attention slid over me again, lingering on the authorized notebook I was given to put my notes down. I make no promises. Look at this sauntering motherfucker. You... It's a festival, General. Relax. He waved an amphibious hand dismissively. In fact... He raised his voice in a way that carried his words around the room. I propose a toast. Another goblet of wine was pushed into my hands by a servant so quickly that I suspect the Aqua of the Elves has a habit of making toasts. Though the room is buzzing with excitement, it is quite enough to hear a pin drop. Beside me, I noticed the general giving Aqua a withering glare. To the Ares Empire, who have stood behind us thousands of winters. He raised his silver goblet into the air. May our festival once again nourish the millennium-old alliance between our two nations, so that we may stand together against the coming horrors anew in 8 months. Prost! I blink as the word is echoed around the room, and everyone erupts into cheers before drinking their cups. I'm just gonna pretend to drink, bro. I'm gonna stay sober. I'm a little scared of this dude. I press the goblet to my lips, but make no effort to part them. Whatever's in the wine, it smells like the sea. I pull the cup back to stare at its contents, noting that what was inside looks like a typical red wine. What sort of disaster took place to make such a lovely drink smell like seaweed? This room has to be a pain to clean. So much cloth. Yeah, they gotta get like the Bissell steamers and they're just going at it with like the little green machine. It seems I am alone in my confusion, however. The festivities around me have resumed in full force, with the swell of the flute leading most elves that were gathered around Aqua into an unfamiliar folk dance. The dude in the black is the definition of I want him. Oh, the Shadow Master, yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the crying man though, with the 4 green eyes. They bounce around the room in couples, laughing and dragging the occasional senator into their steps. It's wild and lively, and typical to the structured festivals we hold back at Balefire. It's an acquired taste. The wine, I mean. Surf grape, they call it in Amor. A familiar voice comes up from behind as I turn to come face to face with the giant frame of the elves' Terra. Long time no see, gorgeous. It's good to see you as well, Terra. Planning to take Aqua up on his offer? It takes me a second to clue in what he is asking. Oh my god, dude. Did everybody see that man proposition me for sex, dude? Did everybody see that? It seems word travels faster than wine at the elven capital. I will be doing my job. Thought so. A part of me wanted to ask him what he meant, considering that smile, but I find my attention occupied by Aqua. He led a complex folk dance with easy confidence, his long hair swaying behind him, a mesmerizing head of revelry. I gotta get back to grinding TFT. You best have a good stream or else. Yeah, have a good time, Hale. Yeah, the piercings? Yeah, I know. Dude had, like, piercings everywhere. I wonder if he's got them. You know. You know. I bet he's got at least one. You know. Our stoic general followed through the motions beside him, as though he'd done this many times before. It looks like he'd have more fun cleaning bird shit. I stifle a laugh behind a hand and a glance up at the shrugging demigod. Am I wrong, though? I'll defend the general. I'll defend the general. Why not? The journey to Omnes has been long. It's possible the Shadow Master is simply tired. The Terra raises an eyebrow at me, and I can tell he sees right through my nonsense of a political excuse. His gaze shifts behind me, and I follow it to a lone figure leaning against the wall behind the embassy's entrance. Oh my god, he's got ears! Look at his fluffy ears! I didn't know he had ears before! My guide from earlier. With his hood down, I'm startled to see a pair of long, looping ears shifting on top of his head. Mors Mortis, the aspect of death, the last demigod of the waking elves. He's watching the dance unfolding around the embassy floor, but seems to be restraining himself from joining it. Tara nudges me with his elbow. You go invite him to a dance, you know. I'm startled by the suggestion. You know the steps, don't you? I nod slowly. I wouldn't be allowed on this job if I didn't. Well, then what are you waiting for? I blink at Tara's words and suddenly feel encouraged to try something new. Oh my god, I pay for a Baldur's Gate 3 mod with Tara as the narrator. You're so sweet. Oh, and I gotta blow my nose again though, dude. Oh, I don't know why my nose is so stuffy lately. I think it's because it's fall. Let me mute real quick while I blow my nose. Okay, I should be good now. Just whew. Hopefully that helps. I don't know why my nose is getting so stuffy lately. It just is. I blink at Tara's words, suddenly feeling encouraged to try something new. This could be a great feature to put in the journalistic masterpiece after I get home. Well, of course I want to pick Mors Mortis. My eyes shift back to the demigod of death, who stands near the front entrance of the embassy's hall, cup of wine in hand. He strays from the rest, enjoying his bubble of serene solitude as he instead observes the descending chaos, content to be exempt from it. Emboldened by the Tara's words, I politely excuse myself from my time with the leader of the elven faith and move to join Mors Mortis in his reclusive corner. His gaze shifts to me briefly, noting my approach, before returning to the wild dances happening around us. Shouting, hopping, twirling, jumping, kissing, touching, drinking. The Aquas grabbed our general, leading him through the complicated steps of a local dance he's been keeping up with perfectly. The visible vexation on his face, however, makes me consider the existence of karma. I can't help but smile as I reach the demigod of death and lean on the back wall beside him. You're not joining them? His eyes flit to me and then back to the craze up ahead. Dancing is not something I've ever had much of a talent for. And yet, you enjoy watching it. It is a verification of being alive, beautiful in its simplicity and simultaneously in its complexity. I tilt my head and turn my attention fully to the scene before me as it unfolds. The Mors Mortis of the elves was the oldest of the elven aspects, a frightening monster with sharp teeth and claws capable of plucking a person's soul right from their chest. He was perhaps the most feared ally we had, a folk tale the parents told their kids when they didn't want to go to bed, a sleepless woven demigod who ate the naughty children when they wandered in the dark forests at night. These men and women, politicians, are like the stars. They burn beautifully when they're far away, interesting to observe, but not to encounter. His plain observation surprises me, and though I lack the courage to verbally or visibly agree with him in a room where doing either of those would be treason, I feel that my silence tells him enough. The beat of the music continues, and the cello swells with the emotions as I watch Tara join into the dance, leading a long winding column of his own with a smile on his face. He's like the sun, a stark contrast to the schooled displeasure of our general and the mischievous expression of Aqua. What about you? Why aren't you joining them? Actually, I wanted to dance with you. Actually, I came over because I wanted to dance with you. I know you said you prefer watching, but would you like to join me for a song nonetheless? The aspect of death stills, and I find myself wondering if the undead demigod had to breathe in order to live. The eyes on his cheekbones dart to me, as if taking me in properly for the first time. There is suspicion in there that I'm not used to perceiving. The dance floor is a cacophony of egos and personalities right now, a meat grinder that I have no interest in entering. I school my features into neutrality as he lifts a hand to rub the space between his eyes. I see. I'm sorry for bothering you with my request, then. No, do not apologize. His tone grows hushed. I barely catch his next words over the music. Though I rarely interact with mortals, I understand attempts at kindness. Dancing is an activity for the living. The dead are only supposed to marvel from the sidelines. What weird rules. I know better than question customs I do not understand, though. A sudden surge of the beat turned my eyes to the center of the embassy's main hall, where the aspect of earth and water had clashed, both vying for the center of the dance floor. The general, whose fingers were still intertwined with Aqua's, regarding the aspect of water as though he were seconds from killing him. The stomping of feet, clinking of cups, roaming of hands, a smell of expensive perfumes met with that of sizzling meats, cooked traditionally as kebab. Oh my god, I want a kebab! At the same time, it reminded me of home while also letting me experience something entirely different. It made me want to close my eyes, lean into the beat like everyone else. As the chaos of the festivities raged around me, I turned once again to face Mors Mortis. A question on my lips as I watched his eyes widen and he pulled me to the side without warning, as a stray glass of wine smashed into the wall where I just stood. Its owner, an earthen elf with sandy skin tone, laughed drunkenly, perhaps after doing a few twirls too many in the current dance. Oh my god. Her eyes, the color of bright amethyst, turned to me, and what I assumed was going to be an apology turned into wide eyes, quivering lips, and a deep bow. She said something in Elvish, then turned on her heels and ran out the embassy's door into the night, leaving me dumbfounded. At least she was considerate enough not to disturb the rest of the guests by screaming. She said she apologizes for the glass. I turned to Mors Mortis, whose nonchalant tone was betrayed by the scowl on his lips. Thank you. It is of no consequence. A series of merry cheers erupts from the center of the hall. The long song having come to an end, I find myself uninterested in the winner of its superstitious competition. The man before me holds my gaze instead. Oh my god, he saved me from the wine glass. That's so thoughtful, so romantic. I'm fascinated by what someone so seemingly gentle had done in seconds to summon forth such a primal fear in a subject. But if Mors Mortis sensed the millions of questions on my tongue, he ignores them, instead reaching towards me and tugging something out of my hair. His dark fingers pull away. I catch a sixth eye tattooed on the back of his hand. A bit of glass got on you. He shows me a small shard between his fingers. Something like that wouldn't have happened had our balefire-mandated journalists been doing their job recording the happenings rather than partaking in them. The general cuts in the conversation with a glare in my direction that gives me goosebumps. I believe you and I have very different definitions of the term partaking, General. Unlike me, Mors Mortis seems completely unaffected by the Shadow Master's presence. Your journalist was in fact doing their job very well. It is the fault of our people that they almost got injured. The general scoffed, his gaze shifting to me, his eyes tracking what I could only assume was the glass shards in my hair. Any journalist serious about their job would already be resting. The aspect of death's gaze shifts to me, as if to gauge something before he places a hand on his toned chest. His head dipped into a curt bow, a soft smile on his lips. Then may your rest be tranquil and your spirit feel serene under the watchful gaze, Indidere. How the fuck did he know my name? How the fuck does he know my name? Nobody said my name yet. Thank you, Natura. As he rises, I offer both men a small, bright smile. If you'll excuse me. The general gives me a curt, dismissive nod. Mors Mortis, on the other hand, seems to be looking past me. I take it as his permission to leave. Wasn't one of them a spy master or something? Well, the one in black, on the right, the one with the black ponytail, he's like the shadow master. So I guess he's like I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. I got my eye on this fella right here though. He's got my heart rate, meow. That's my type. If you're ever wondering what my type was, it's him. If you got 4 eyes and inky tattoo hands, hit me up. Hit me up. And as halfway out the room, I realize I never actually had the chance to tell the aspect of death my name. Yeah, see, I picked that up immediately. I quickly reach my room. The inside is small but luxuriously furnished, showing off what I already knew. The Ares Empire spared no expense for its diplomats. I find myself glaring at the unnecessary mahogany desk, the silk robe hanging from my dresses, the comfortable bed warmed by the red candle lit beside it. The redundant opulence of the ensuite bathroom with the heated floors and the scented soaps. I'll BRB after a henna sesh. Ooh, you're eating a henna sesh? So Yami Baroness, welcome in. How are you liking the game so far? It's a good time. I've really been enjoying it. I'm a big fan of Mors Mortis. He's my type. I was just saying how he's very much my type. But they're all very sexy. I enjoy some good man titty. So hi, fine. Welcome in. I sigh as I sink into my bed, journal in hand. Pushing my annoyance aside, my thoughts drift, taking me through the day. So far, I find Omnis to be mysterious. The goth, the Gomez Adams softie strikes again. Yeah. I'm a big fan. That's my type. The mysterious, quiet, like representation of death is always a winner in my heart. I was a big fan of Thanatos from the Hades series as well too. So I feel like that says a lot about me. Also, oh my god, Fi, thank you for the kissy redeem. There you go. There's your kissy, Fi. I find myself sticking a bit longer to my descriptions of the small alleyway I locked myself in. The empty streets, the dark curtains, the simple stone buildings decorated with bones and dried herbs. I write about the sudden rain that fell and the kind elf with the glowing lantern that saved me from it. I pause, wondering if I should add the elf's actual identity to the work, and decide to just leave the mystery as is. Let the Arisian reading the future article think of all the elves as kind savers, not just one of them. Next, I find myself focusing on the welcome festivities I'd just been a part of. They were highly political, ridiculously chaotic, terribly exciting. They were quite a special experience, especially when one of the elemental guys propositioned me for sex in front of the whole hall. That was wild, dude. The winters of our eastern continent experiences are mere myths to the rest of the known world. They are harsh, filled with horrors of mind and body. We lose too many good people to these wars every year. And yet, within the Arisian embassy of Omnis, the evening before the Dread Festival, we are welcomed with open arms by our elven comrades in arms. We find hope in breaking bread and sharing wine. We smile, laugh, and choose to live on, persist despite the admonitions of, in our recent memories, Abominations in our recent memories. It was a heartwarming sight of an alliance forged over millennia of joint suffering. I find myself smiling when I think of Mors Mortis. The calm and wise Mors Mortis is the oldest waking elven aspect. As the demigod of death and the ruler of Spes, the city of hope, he is a walking oxymoron, both renowned and feared for his own kind's capital city. He is the monster our parents told us about when we were young, the big bad wolf that ate the naughty kids, he who never sleeps and can pluck souls from the bodies with a simple touch. There is, however, a certain unexpected peace one can find when being near what they fear most. You can find out the boogeyman is just a man. Perhaps the weeks of travel were finally getting to me. I put away my journal and tried to get some rest. To survive in the Ares Empire, you need to love it, or you need to be very good at pretending to do so. The delegation was ready to depart to the Central Plaza at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Systemized like apothecary bottles, not a single soul dared to be late under the general's scrutiny, as if yesterday's chaotic revelry was a dream we'd all conjured up in our sleep. But the outfit on my body was proof enough, considering I had nothing else decent to wear. The elven diplomat means to escort us to the location of the Dread Festival's opening ceremony arrived at exactly 7:35. The Shadow Master greeted them, and after finishing the steaming contents of his cup, bid they lead the way. I soon found myself uncertain as to why all this posturing was necessary. The Central Plaza of Omnis is exactly a 3-minute walk away from the embassy. Though we are early to the ceremony, the open space is packed with elves of various elemental inclinations and ages. 7 large stone coffins held together with heavy locks and star-mailed chains lay arranged in neat line in the heart of the square. A giant cauldron of bubbling wax levitates peacefully above each one, and I quickly spot the 7 lit silver candles held together by Mors Mortis. Though Terra and Aqua are nowhere to be found, the aspect of death seems to personally be attending the festival's preparations. He appears calm as he runs his fingers over the flame of the braziers, heating the cauldrons, earning excited whispers from the gathered elves and senators. I find myself wondering if it hurts or if he's just touched fire so many times that he's grown numb to it. Oh my god, dude, my fucking nose is so stuffy. Hold on, let me mute again so I can blow my nose again. Okay, I'm good. Let me drink some water. For a second, his eyes meet mine across the field as our delegation steps forward to our designated area. Smile at him. Surprise skips over his features like a pebble before sinking underneath the perfectly constructed political smile he'd offer our delegation. Or so I expected. Instead, his expression remains the same as he offers us a cool, calculated bow. Welcome, esteemed general and delegates of the Ares Empire, to this year's Dread Festival opening. Thank you, Aspect of Death, for hosting us again this year. The Shadow Master returns the sentiment with a curt bow of his own. What a lukewarm exchange. I'm not certain exactly what's happened between those two, but I do not have any time to dwell on it, for Aqua and Terra's arrival breaks the tension and turns it into chaos. It's as if whatever those two appear, the location turns to a stage set for a spectacle. A stark contrast to the elves' indifference towards Mors Mortis and quiet curiosity about the general. I find my gaze lingering. You know who my gaze is lingering on, brother. You know who it's lingering on. The Aspect of Death stood motionless beside our delegation as he waited for his compatriots to join us. His side profile reminded me of a statue, his lithe form carved from decades of decisions. Only his eyes gave away signs of life. His gaze shifted through the crowd, landing on his fellow aspects before he blinked, an action so natural that it looked foreign on him, as though he did it for the benefit of the living around him. Esteemed guests of the Empire, allow us once again to welcome you to our lands as we commemorate the end of another winter. Terra moved to stand beside the now quiet Mors Mortis. There is no greater honor for us and our people to call you and yours by the term allies. For every time we've called you, you have answered, and whenever you've been in need, we've delivered. It is through the good that we stave off evil. through your gods and ours. Listening to the eloquence of the aspect of Earth, I am quickly reminded that as the leader of the elven city of faith, Terra also holds the title of head of all elfic religions. Aqua speaks next, a hand on his heart. Our bond has lasted a millennia, a marriage against darkness. This commitment, immortalized when we sealed away the 7 scions, will continue to hold again today. On this first dawn of the Dread Festival, we bow once again to keep them at bay. His voice pulls me toward him like the sailor to a siren, but it's Mors Mortis' tone that brings me back. That makes me stop and listen. From flesh to wax, from wax to life. Every year, the eternal war takes from us those we hold dear. And with what's left of them, we seal away chaos, anger, harm, loneliness, sorrow, hunger, and plague, and take a breath until next winter. For it is through faith that we hold the lines, through love that we stand united, and through hope that we keep fighting. Let those we love shield us once more from the dangers we've forgotten. Breathe in and take your time to pray. Damn, that's crazy. Shadow Master didn't say shit. Terra's command echoes through the air, rendering the thousands of elves gathered on our knees. As per the ritual, our delegation is the first to walk up to the braziers of bubbling wax and silently thank those who gave their lives for ours. The general goes first, murmuring thank yous in both our language and that of the elves. Though I can't see his face, I find his tone to be gentler than any I've heard of him before. I go last from our delegation. I think about those I've lost over the years of this war. A deep pain grips me. I know it stems from the emptiness of what once was, but it is now no more. I reach for the first cauldron. I thank the people and elves who gave their lives for our peace in both languages. Then I move on to the next cauldron and do the same, and the next, and the next, and the next. It is considered a great honor to be able to come this close to the dead again. Once our delegation has finished paying our respects, the elven aspects follow. The 3 move in perfect tandem, and by the time Mors Mortis is finished, the rest of the elven population in Omnis is already in silent tears. Poor. Mors Mortis orders after a moment of silence. The 7 cauldrons obey his command, slowly moving to tip over. Wax begins hitting the coffins one by one, resealing them under the watchful eyes of the elven aspects, their people, and our delegation. Get down! The words shatter through the silence. I barely have the time to process the familiar voice before the ground underneath my feet gives. For a second, I think I'm blind. The world has turned pitch black. I think I smell something burning. Then daylight breaks through, bringing me back my sense of sight. My knees are bleeding. I blink as I try to get my bearings, but it's as though sound has ceased to function. I make out that some of the centers lay beside me, cowering. Stay low for now. I don't know what's going on. The general is kneeling beside me, a knife in his hand. His eyes wander around our delegation, coolly checking for everyone's presence and safety. At least until a shout cuts apart my uncertainty with a new horrifying discovery. The goddess of chaos has escaped! My eyes shoot in the direction of the pale marble coffin, the last one to be sealed, now empty. I hear murmurs and whispers from the gathered elven crowds. The words are undecipherable until the general's crimson gaze sweeps over the onlookers with what can only be described as wild fury. They finally decided to conquer us too. Betrayers! Scoundrels! My blood chills as I realize that the only possible culprits could be those close enough to the cauldrons. The realization seems to dawn upon the aspects at the same time because all 3 of them turn to face us. The word "seize them" sounds suddenly like a phrase from a banned horror novel. The elven crowds are dispersed and told to return to their homes under curfew. Meanwhile, we're roughly pulled to a standing position in front of the aspects. While Terra and Aqua's expressions are unreadable, Mors Mortis looks dangerously calm. General, Give us one reason why we mustn't lynch your delegation and send you back to the Emperor to announce the dissolution of our alliance. You have no proof. I find this man's ability to remain an egotistical bastard even when standing before 3 demigods almost attractive. Almost. Did nobody else stand close enough to the braziers in order to tamper with them? The general falls silent, and I realize exactly what he's saying. I see Mors Mortis' expression turn murderous as he reaches the same conclusion. My thoughts suddenly dim as a primal existential fear of death sinks its claws into my back. How dare! Let's hold an investigation then. Aqua's smile is nonchalant, but something in his tone gives me pause. Mors Mortis' eyes narrow on the demigod of water. Everyone present is a suspect. I don't know why the 3 unitary demigods suddenly look so divided. Terra, much to my surprise, is frowning, his tail flicking around, his eyes crossed in front of his chest. Very well. Mors Mortis' 4 jade eyes wander between the members of our delegation and the surrounding guards before landing on the general. Name your investigator, Shadow Master. You get one and only one. Indidere. Who? Brazier isn't pronounced the same. Why are you bullying me? How is it pronounced then? Let me Google it. Let me Google how it's pronounced. It's like Brazier. 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 I guess. I suppose. Look, I know a lot of words, but I've never actually had to read them out loud before, okay? That's the thing, is I know the words, I've just never had to learn how to pronounce them because I've only ever read them. Okay, so don't bully me. Don't bully me. Ah, Indidere. What? I jump to my feet as all eyes turn on me. I'll do it. I'll do it. I catch a glimmer in Terra's gaze as none of the aspects argue the general's choice. Aqua's smile widens as I find myself looking away, needing to escape all of his attention. The festival lasts 7 days. This is how long you have to get to this truth of yours. The unspoken, if you fail, remains a silent implication that hangs over my head like a guillotine for the next week. So hi, Vortexiality. Welcome in. I like this festival already. Yeah, I love the looming idea of my head on a platter as I get through the fucking week, you know? Keeps me going. Helps me find that motivation. Dig deep, you know? I return to my room and find that my fingers are gripping my journal so hard that they're shaking. I have to get it together, desperately. I can sense how overwhelmed I am with fear. Had it been winter, I likely would have already turned into some mindless ghoul and fallen prey to the sword of a soldier. I take in a deep breath and exhale. I repeat these simple motions several times until my brain has enough oxygen to function again as it should. Who do I investigate? I'm gonna be real, Aqua seems suspicious as hell. I wasn't sure if it was because Mors Mortis had called everyone present a suspect, but I found myself diligently studying Aqua as he sat on a chair in front of my work desk. A very ornate chair that hadn't been there until right before I asked for the aspect of water to stop by for questioning. It was carved of some expensive wood, packed with comfortable cushions, and sparkled with pearls of various colors and sizes. A perfect seat for the man who lounged on top of it, as if he was king of the world. Legs crossed, chin propped up on one hand, he offered me a lazy smile that made something in my chest twist. He was perhaps the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. Almost. I mean, has he seen Mors Mortis? It was annoying to no end. Should I summon a painter? You seem fond of staring. My cheeks flushed as I cleared my throat. Glancing down at my journal, I found it logical as I started off by asking him the following questions. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? Not really. I was too busy sleeping off a hangover. After a long night of enjoying the revelry, I helped your embassy through. His voice dipped into a softer, more melodic tone. It truly was a shame that you couldn't stay. How long into the night did the revelry continue? Oh, I don't know. I didn't stay for the whole thing. And why not? I found a better use of my time. His tone dipped into something softer, and his eyes attained that pure, raw heat that could only mean one thing. I nodded, my cheeks no doubt as bright as his eyeshadow. Why were you so late on the morning of the incident? Aqua scoffed at my question. I am late only if you go by the words of Mors Mortis. If anyone else had organized the Dread Festival this year, they wouldn't have said a word. Others can organize the festival? Of course, it's a rotating duty between all aspects. It just so happens that this year the pleasure fell on Mors Mortis' shoulder. Was there anything different between how Mors Mortis organized this year's festival compared to the previous ones? I have no clue. I was delegated the task of organizing your arrival banquet, so I was fully focused on that. No wonder it was so lavish and chaotic. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? Aqua raised an eyebrow at my question. If I was thrown in the deep end, I wouldn't go about attracting the attention of sharks. Are you threatening me? He laughed as though I'd asked something terribly amusing, his different colored eyes glittering like sea glass. You Eurasians are always looking for a reason for argument or fight. Do you know a lot about Eurasians? A few. And that's enough to draw up such conclusions? Perhaps. I do my best not to roll my eyes. Could you tell me a bit more about the missing goddess? Aqua's fingers ceased that incessant playing about with his hair. Varvare, the goddess of chaos, the fourth child of the Arbor Pestis. According to the written materials from the time, she was a menace on the battlefield. Uncontrollable, and like all of the other gods, unkillable. Whoever is responsible for this could have freed any of the gods, perhaps even all of them, but they chose to free Varvare. Why? Aqua shrugged. The children of evil have been sealed for over 2 millennia by our predecessors and your gods. The best you can get on any of them are secondary records from the Grand Library in the Academy. I blink and find myself jotting down both locations in my journal as places I need to visit. This was all very helpful, thank you. Did you find that... I appreciate the attempt at lengthening our time together, investigator. I am a busy man. I find myself gaping at him. I wasn't... The grin he gives me as he makes to get up is downright infuriating. Bro's like, anyway, toodaloo, I gotta go. I should have a free time slot for you after 5 hours if you wish to continue your disquisition. You can't just... But he can, and he proves that point by making his way out the door to my small room before I can finish my sentence. And I have the infuriating need to throw my journal at the door. Who do I investigate? Alright, we'll save Mors Mortis for last. We'll do Lattimore, then Terra. Your summons for the general go unanswered. He appears to be busy. Damn, bitch. Alright, Terra then. I tap my pen against the desk as I try to structure a plan. I'm a political journalist, not a detective. I should be reporting on the strong relationship between the Ares Empire and Quil-Anguilar. Quil-Anguilar? I should be watching the general gallivanting alongside the aspects, drinking wine, smiling politely, and just writing. Instead, I somehow find myself spearheading an investigation that could not only spark a war between 2 nations, but also result in the end of my life. I can feel the nerves in my stomach like worms eating me from the inside out. I should have skipped breakfast, and at this rate, I might skip dinner. You alright? You look like you want to murder your journal. Which I do not recommend, by the way. It looks like a nice journal. I find myself torn from my thoughts by a voice I'm quickly growing acquainted with. Its owner leans against the open doorway, strong arms crossed in front of his chest. I knocked several times, but you didn't respond, so I let myself in. It took me a moment to realize that he was waiting for me to respond to his earlier inquiry. Not really. I'm not really fine, bro. I'm gonna be so real with you. He hums, his eyes studying me briefly. His gaze was piercing, as though he could see through every little lie. Please, feel free to take a seat. I motioned to the chair in front of my desk and watched Tara's gaze flick briefly to it before moving back to me with a raised eyebrow. I don't mean to be disrespectful to your embassy's choice of furniture in saying this, but if I were to put my full weight onto the seat, I fear I won't hold another person ever again. And while I have no issue paying for those damages, I think I'd rather spare your ambassadors the embarrassment. A giggle escapes me as I process his words. Imagining the present ambassadors rushing over to apologize to the elves' Terra for their inadequate seating arrangements sounds like something out of a local comedy skit. Alright then, on to the topic at hand. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? No, I was preoccupied. Any particular reason? He chuckles and the sound inexplicably takes a load off my shoulders. Some demigod enchantment, perhaps? I was releasing some pent-up energy. Oh my god. Through exercise? With Aqua. It takes great effort for me to keep my pen moving against the paper, but the writing turns into an unintelligible scrawl as his words sink in. His expression is proof enough that he isn't teasing me. His lips are set into a firm line, his muscular arms crossed in front of his chest. After a few moments when I'm certain my voice and expression are schooled, I continue that line of questioning. And how long were you together for that evening? Until morning. Could you give me the exact hours? His tail twitches from behind him, his eyes flickering away from me as he attempts to recall the information I need. I made sure to stay at the embassy as long as it was polite. Which was... Your general vanished around 3 a.m. I followed his lead. I nod my head, a frown on my lips at the mention of my strict supervisor. Aqua left with you? He nods and I unwittingly find myself following the movement of his short braids over his chest. And you were with Aqua until you arrived at the scene of the crime. Tara cocks an amused eyebrow at my choice of terminology. For the most part, investigator. I give him a look that demands further clarification. We separated for a shower and a change of clothes at around 6 a.m. I put that down word for word and move on with my other inquiries. So, why were you late on the morning of the incident? Some elven business came up. Right before the beginning of the festival? When you live as long as I do, investigator, you come to realize that there's two kinds of business. There's the business you can put off and the business you can't. Usually if you don't handle the first, it becomes the second. I try not to make that mistake. That's very organized of you. I find myself smiling at his explanation. The compliment comes out accidentally and it earns me a bright grin. Thank you. His tone softens slightly, a low, warm rumble compared to his usual demanding voice. I almost find it difficult to focus on the work at hand. Does the Dread Festival use the same agenda every year? Tara nods, shifting his weight from one leonine leg to another. Has been for as long as I can remember, which is a bit longer than a century. 120 years, give or take? It all kind of blends together when you live this long. Absolutely nothing has changed for 120 years? Nothing significant as far as I can recall. Mors Mortis is the oldest of us. He should be able to give you a more informed answer. I'll make sure to ask him. Tara gives me a small smile. So, who do you think is responsible for this incident? The Tara's eyes narrow at my question, his lips pursing into a scowl. Whoever they are, they couldn't have escaped far. I put Omnis into lockdown. No one can leave or enter. That wasn't my question. His eyes, like molten gold, slid to me, and for a split second I could imagine what it would be like to be this man's enemy. To stand against a man who could move a mountain. Literally. Someone or something that wishes to weaken us. To drive fear into the hearts of our people. And when I find them, I will tear them to pieces with my bare hands and leave them to rot on the altar of celebration until the crows have picked the meat clean from their remains, and the barons have dissolved the bones with their shit. It takes me a moment to close my mouth and remember to write this down. Silence stretches out between us, and the only sound of ink on paper before I look up to the demigod before me, another question in mind. Can a lockdown hold a child of evil? And what could anyone hope to gain from ruining the opening ritual? I think we gotta understand what they hope to gain. Attempting to sow the seeds of panic and fear in our people is futile. Most of them have lived too long and are too emboldened by their love, faith, or hope to truly let one minor attempt on their lives shake centuries of mental and emotional training. So you believe the goal of the events is purely to free the goddess? That or to shake Mors Mortis' position in our society? I pause, having completely missed this angle. Why would anyone attempt to damage the reputation of your demigod of death? Everyone tends to fear what they cannot understand and hates what they cannot control. Mors Mortis has saved many lives, turned his district of death and afterlife into a sanctuary for survivors of the eternal war. And this is a problem? I feel a semblance of horror crawl up my spine at the implied alternative. Some would call it weakness. Would you? I call it hope. And I find it necessary. His undaunted response warms me, smothering the chill of horror with assurance. A knock sounds on the door, breaking us away from our session. Atera's eyes move from the door to me, his lips pursed as he steps away from it. For a man so famous for his control, I'm sure he had no problem giving it away. I half expected him to answer before I blinked. Come in. The door creaks open, and I find myself looking at a handsome, lithe, silver-haired elf who offers the Tara a low bow. Allura. You are needed in the square to help set up the fire dancing festival, Natura. Of course, I'll be right there. I'm a bit annoyed at the interruption. I nod my head when Tara's gaze returns to me. Candle, I think, unless they changed it when they released the latest English 2.0 video. Because spell candle. You're so silly, J-Bomb. What a silly Billy. I'll see you at the fire dancing festival then, investigator. Do you have appropriate clothes for the event? I find myself caught off guard by the question. I'll have some sent to your room before tonight then. Hope you've been having fun with us? Yeah, I have been. And there's many sexy characters in this game, so I've been having a good time just admiring them. Are you always buying strangers whole new wardrobes? Usually only those that ask nicely. His grin stirs in me something fierce. Natura! I'm coming, Allura. He's out the door before I can poke at his words, leaving my brain scrambled with information and my stomach with warmth. As I'm looking down my notes from the first 2 sessions, churning the new information in my brain, the door to my room swings open with such violence that I reach for the dagger underneath the desk. For a second, the shadows grow deeper and darker, and I wonder if they've moved on their own before the general marches into my room unannounced. With 4 quick strides of his long legs, he reaches my desk, his tall form blocking out the rays of sun from the nearby window like a storm cloud. A thick stack of papers is deposited unceremoniously on my desk, and it takes everything within me not to wince as I notice the smudges of various shades of red and brown, along with the inky scrawl upon them. I put the dagger back in its sheath and make up and get up to bow, but he raises his hand to stop me. I will not stay. I had taken up the task of personally questioning everyone from our delegation who prayed in front of the wax this morning. I feel the blood drain from my face as my eyes flip between him and the stack of paper before me, and I clear my throat to help find my voice. And did you find anything of note? His eyes narrow with unfiltered annoyance. No. He turns around, heading for the door, just as abruptly as he entered through it, each step increasing the anxiety settling on my shoulders. I'll let him leave for now. The door shuts behind him, and I can hear my heart continue to pound in my ears for at least a minute after. I steel myself. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and out. If I wanted to question the general, I just missed my shot. In doing so, however, I probably also minimized his ire. Instead, my gaze slides over the stack of papers in front of me, and I pick it up, flipping through all of the questions. It started with, did you notice anything unusual, and ended with, why did you do it? The general's writing itself was a beautiful, steady cursive, a contrast to the harrowing request for the release under the last question. I could feel myself breaking out in a cold sweat as I continued listing through. Unfortunately for me, the Shadow Master had been right. None of the answers given held any inclination that the criminal was anyone from our delegation. This further confirmed the most likely suspects, the 3 elven aspects. Is this a translation? No, I think it's just a little wordy. You know, people have different like writing styles, and I think this one tends to be like a little bit more of a flowery writing style, so it kind of gets a little tripped up sometimes. But it's just the writing style, I think. The general himself. The memory of his cold, narrowed gaze from earlier lingers in my mind, and my heart seizes with the realization. And me. Who do I investigate? My darling. I think it's Aqua. I think Aqua did it. I don't know. Something about Aqua makes me feel like... We'll see. Maybe it's Mors Mortis, but I don't know. To me, it feels like it's probably Aqua. I'm going to be so real with you. My head feels like it's swimming as I attempt to piece everything together. Nothing makes sense. There's still too much information I lack and too little time I have to figure this out. I feel restless, the squeezing of my stomach from nerves doubling by the rapid growing hunger for something more serious than a cup of tea. It forces me out of my chair into the door. With the amount of stress I'm under, if I don't eat anything, I might fall sick, and then I'd have really doomed us all. A light meal would have to suffice. Pulling the door open, I find myself staring back at 2 pairs of surprised green eyes. The aspect of death, one dark hand pulled into a fist, seems to have just been about to knock. Instead, he clears his throat and hides his hand back under his long coat. Oh, that's so cute. He's all embarrassed. He's like, oh, hi. I've come at a bad time. He steps back, serene, entirely different from the previous burning display of anger at the city square. Death doesn't knock twice. It's all right, Natera. I was just about to step out for lunch. I see. Then I won't keep you with my presence. No, come with me. Come with me to lunch. That won't work for me. I desperately need answers. Would you like to join me for lunch? Actually, if it isn't entirely too bold of an invitation, considering the difference in our stations, you could join me? This way we won't waste time. 4 green eyes blink at me and then scan me from top to bottom with distrust. For lunch? Whatever he sees in my following little nod seems to melt away suspicion, replacing them with curiosity instead. He motions for me to walk ahead, and I do just that, a polite silence blanketing the space between us as we make our way into the embassy's canteen. You play country and they're all death metal, your stations just clash. But he's so pretty. It's a small but well-decorated place with 3 rotating tables covered in banquet-style dishes for self-service. One tall window allows for daylight to enter and envelop the whole room. When I move to sit in one of the comfortable wooden chairs, Mors Mortis is quick to pull it out from behind me, surprising me as he pushes it underneath after me. Oh my god. Would you be comfortable having me sit beside you, or would you prefer having me seated across? The question puzzles me, and I catch Mors Mortis once again scanning my face, searching for who knows what as I shrug. Sit wherever, Natura. We are in your city. So hi, Mors. Welcome in. And in your embassy, investigator. Do not forget that. I blink as he takes a seat beside me and lowers his hood. The eyes on his cheekbones scan through the dishes on the display. Ask away. So I do just that. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? Hours is a very broad amount of time. But yes, many things caught my attention. For one, my invisibility cloak had disappeared. The joke is on my tongue, but I resist interrupting, stamping it out like any other intrusive thought. I couldn't complete my afternoon patrol yesterday because I was saving a soul in distress from sudden rain. I can feel his eyes linger pointedly on me as I write that down. And the dead, their immortal souls were restless. He frowns, his ears twitching. Even still, their bones seek to leave their graves through their flesh has been cleaved and turned to wax. How can you tell? I can see them, hear them, feel them, talk to them. His gaze shifts briefly to something above my shoulder, and I follow his gaze but spot nothing. A sigh escapes him before his gaze turns to the table and the food before me, but I'm not sure I have the stomach for anything after that conversation. I must, however, persevere. When did your invisibility cloak disappear? Yesterday, after I left my house. What time was that around? I tend to lose track of time. It was still dark outside, so it was in the early hours of the morn, somewhere around 5 a.m., based on Nosh's path through the sky. And when did you return to find it missing? 10 p.m., a quarter hour before that, perhaps. That's a large gap of time. I know where I placed it, and when we return from the winter, it isn't there. Where do you usually place it? On the hanger beside the antidote rack. You can stop by when you have time, and I'll show you what I mean. You want me to... Twirls hair and pushes it behind my ear. You want me to stop by your house? I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing investigator. My compatriots will confirm if you only ask them. You can bring someone with you if you're not comfortable, of course. No. I wasn't saying that out of fear. I was... I gotta make sure I pick out something nice to wear, you know? I was thinking about what I'm gonna wear when I go visit, that's all. I nod slowly, noting the opportunity in my journal. Was the ritual tampered with? Yes. How? Mors Mortis' eyes fall on the empty plate in front of me. There were runic configurations on the inside of the cauldron. I blink in surprise. Runes are ancient symbols imbued with magic, most commonly used for spellcasting. But runic is a dead language. Is anything truly dead if memory of it still lingers? The aspect of death rotates the traditional table such that the vegetable dishes face us rather than the meat-centric ones. Either this man is a vegetarian or he has astounding insight into those around him. Bro knows I haven't been eating my veggies like I should. I'm sorry, okay? I'll eat more veggies. I plan to. I actually had a veggie soup, not like literally like yesterday, actually. I made like a really nice corn soup and I added in some baby carrots and some broccoli and I used mashed potatoes to sort of thicken the soup too. It was pretty yummy. I did like it. So I did in fact eat my veggies. I thank him and quietly pile on some pickled vegetables onto my plate, pondering his last words. When I look back at him, I notice his ears have sharpened and his bustling tail is frozen in place, as if he was listening for something I can't hear. The eyes on his cheekbones have shifted their attention elsewhere. His features soften after a split second, and he turns his full focus back to me. Do we know what purpose those runes served? Very few can read this language. Some of the runic shapes used are foreign, even to me. I frown at this information. Despite the youth of his current appearance, Mors Mortis was the eldest of the aspects. Imperial records place his age somewhere in the late 400s. Damn, Dilf looking good though. My death speakers have already begun raising the spirits of the ancient dead to see if we can earn that knowledge. I'll let you know what we find, but it will take some time. The sudden urge to snap at him rises within me. He's given me a week to solve this, but he's the one that needs time? I count to 10, stealing my nerves once more. How long do you imagine it will take to find this knowledge? By tree gifting, at the latest. I grit my teeth. It was going to take him 3 days? I see. I'll ponder the implications of that later. Who do you think is responsible? The aspect of Death's expression turns unreadable. His eyes flicker away. A shadow falls across his face, and I know that he's already thought on this. For some reason, however, he refuses to share. His silence lasts long enough that I'm inclined to write down, refuses to respond in my journal. I pick up my chopsticks and take a quick couple of bites of the pickled carrots, and I consider how to follow up on the lack of reply. Do the spirits know who's behind the freed goddess? They are restless. They speculate just like us. The voices that have been so many that it is not only difficult to tune them out, but also impossible to make out anything of them, are saying unless I implicitly concentrate. I need more time to speak with the city's roaming spirits, but when I have an answer, I will let you know. I shall leave you with the pleasures within the plates. I barely had a moment to blink as the aspect of Death rose from his chair and put his hood back on. His cloak carried behind him a scent of fallen autumn leaves and burning candles. He hadn't had a sip or bite as he made his way to the door. His eyes flickered once again to me and then behind me. Something of a smile crossed his lips. Remember, be a rat, not a lamb. The less meat on the bones, the less satisfying the prey. Oh, that's the demo? That's it? Oh my god. I think it's Aqua. I'm gonna be so real with you. Aqua's the only one that hasn't really given us a actual whatchamacallit alibi. We know that Terra and Aqua were fucking late into the night up until the early morning, but then Terra had to separate from Aqua to take care of business, right? Which leaves Aqua without an alibi for the hours up at the beginning before the actual event. And then the invisibility cloak was missing, so it's very possible that they stole the invisibility cloak ahead of time. I don't think it was our general because it was already missing by the time we arrived, basically. Like, the invisibility cloak was already gone. It was already gone by the time our delegation arrived. So I don't think it could have been our general who stole it. Which implies it had to have been somebody who was already there setting things up, which makes me think it was Aqua. Final answer. But this was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time. The Kickstarter for this game is available right now if you want to back it and support it. You can also wishlist it on Steam, which is a free way to support the game as well. Also, oh my god, baby! Thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, this was a good time. I really, really enjoyed it. I think all the characters are very hot. Mors Mortis is my favorite. My beloved, my darling, if you will. My Pookie, if you would even dare to say. But I'm excited. We have so many visual novels planned for this week. Tomorrow we are playing Phoenix Breaking the Cycle, which is a indie game that is heavily inspired by Danganronpa. The art style, I think, especially shows a lot of it. but I'm pretty hyped for it because I am a big Danganronpa fan, so I think it'll be really interesting to see. It's also like a psychological horror romance type of visual novel with Yuri romance. It's 2 girls, so yeah, I think it'll be a good time. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stop here for tonight because we finished the demo. For those who are watching on the YouTube end, both the Steam page for this game and the Kickstarter are linked in the description. And then right there, I have the Kickstarter pinned right there on Twitch, in the Twitch chat. There you go. But let's see, who should we raid? Who's online? Who's up? Who's up? I'm late. No, it's okay. It's okay, Vivi, because I'm going to be here tomorrow. And I'm going to be here Friday. And I'm going to be here Monday. And I'm going to be here Tuesday. And I'm going to be here Wednesday. We got lots of games, so don't worry. If you missed it a little bit today, you'll have plenty to be able to catch up on tomorrow. Yeah, don't worry. Don't stress. Let's see. Who's up? We got... Oh, we could raid Oka. Maybe we'll raid Oka. I think that's what we'll do. Oka's doing Final Fantasy 14, so it'll stay nice and cozy. Okay. Let's go ahead and set that up. If it wants to load for me, pretty please. Oh my god. Go away, all these notifications, Jesus. Okay. Alright, we're gonna raid Oka. I will see you guys tomorrow for Phoenix Breaking the Cycle. But if not, no worries. I'll see you when I see you. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. And feel free to check out my new ASMR roleplay video on YouTube. But yeah, good night.